Okay, I know we're doing a lot of videos to review, but I just want to make sure that everyone understands and has a refresher on what we're doing. So, on page 159 of your skills practice, I just want to go over a couple of things of this. We're not going to do the whole thing. We're going to do identifying the slope and y-intercept of this graph. So if this guy, Andrew, was saving his money to purchase a phone and he already had $57 saved and he saves $10 a week from his part-time job, what would be the slope and what would be the y-intercept? I'll give you a second to think about that. But remember, per, each, every, those are key words for slope. So how much is he saving per week? $10. So the slope would be 10. How much did he already have saved when he started? Starting point, 57. So what would the graph look like? The equation, y equals mx plus b. Y equals 10x plus 57 because that's how he started. Now, what is the y-intercept? It's 57. But remember, if we were going to write it like an x and a y, this is the y-intercept. The x is going to be 0. The y would be 57. So just remember the coordinate points for the y-intercept are going to be 0 on the x always. And then whatever the y-intercept is, where the line crosses the y would be the y coordinate. Okay, so I just want to go over that one more time. Do you have any questions about how to find slope and y-intercept? You don't have to write this down. I'm just telling you. If you have any questions about how to find the y-intercept or slope from a scenario like that it tells you, ask me. Like this from a word problem, ask me. I don't want you to just not know. Ask me. I will be happy to explain it. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Graph the equation y equals 4x minus 1. Um, this says determine the y-intercept by substituting 0 for x. Well, we already know the y-intercept is -1. But if we substituted 0 for x, it would look like this: 4 times 0 minus 1. This is on page 163, by the way. I'm sorry. So y equals 4 times 0. That's 0 minus 1. So y equals -1. But we already know just by looking at it that the y-intercept is -1. What about this one? The y-intercept for this one, it would be 0, -7. And just to be clear, this would be 0, -1. So I just want to show you those. If we're looking at an equation and it's already in this type of format, this right here is going to be our y-intercept. If it's a minus, then it would be a negative. If it's plus, it would be a positive. And then our x coordinate would always be 0. And then whatever b is in our equation is going to be the y-intercept. Okay. Um, Okay, I want to look at this. There are going to be some test questions that look like this. So I want to make sure you know what to do. Okay. So let's say point D is located at -13, -1. Point Q is located at 0, 12. Determine the slope intercept equation of DQ. Um, so X, Y. So -13, -1, and then 0, 12. So let's do the slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 12 minus a -1, 0 minus a -13. I'll do this on Desmos in just a second, but let's do it by hand first. So when we have these two negatives, they're going to make a positive. So that would be 13. And these two would make a positive. And 13 over 13, or 13 divided by 13, is 1. So our slope would be equal to 1. So what is the equation for that? Well, here we have 0, 12. So that means 12 is our y-intercept. And if 1 is our slope, we could write y equals 1x plus 12. Or we could make this invisible and say y equals x plus 12. So let's go over to Desmos and see if we could figure it out over there. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to put my parentheses and say 12 minus a -1. And you can do it just like that, and it gives you 13. But I'm going to close the parentheses and say divided by 0 minus a -13. And there we go. It has 1. 1 is our slope. So what if I wanted to find the equation of a line? And I know that 1 is the slope. So I know y equals mx plus b, right? And I know that this is a set of my points. So what if I plugged in -1 is equal to 1 times -13 plus b. Do you see what I did there? Let me just make that clear. I plugged in -1 for y and -13 for x because I've got those 2 points given to me, x and y. And I found my slope. My slope is 1, so I plugged that in there. But let's pretend like I don't know this, and so I don't know what the b is. So I'm going to say, and this is a trick that I'm going to show you. I'm going to have this written on the board. -1, and instead of the equal sign, I'm going to put something else. Well, let me put the equal sign for now. Is equal to 1 times -13 plus b. And I don't have a b. Let me see. Okay. I don't have a b. I'm just going to put y and see what happens. Oops. Let me go backwards. Okay. Now enter. Okay, that didn't work. I think I will show you what to do on Desmos to get this. Just because I'm on my iPad, it's not giving me all of the things that I need. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute on Desmos. But what if we plugged in that Y and plugged in that X? Then we would get -1 is equal to, what is 1 times -13? -13 plus B. So how do I get that? -1 is equal to -13 plus B. I need to get this by itself. So I'm going to add 13 to both sides. That cancels out. And what is -1 plus 13? Just like saying 13 minus 1. So that would be 12. 12 is equal to B. So I'm going to show you on Desmos another way to do this in person. Okay. So you can pause if you need more time, but then we will move on. And I want to show you, let's look at some functions real quick, how to tell if it is a function or not a function. Okay. So y'all did really well on this before we left for Thanksgiving. So let's just review. So remember, X cannot go to more than one Y. So we have an X to a Y, an X to a Y, an X to a Y, an X to a Y. So yes, that's a function. So if we were to write the ordered pairs, it would look like 1, 4, 2, 6, 3, 8, 4, 10. Okay, so let's check this one. 1 goes to 4, 2 goes to 6, 3 goes to 3, 3 goes to 5, 4 goes to 4, and 4 goes to 6. So those are the ordered pairs. Is this a function? No, not a function, because 3 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 5. So we can't have that. And 4 goes to 4, but 4 also goes to 6. And we can't have that. Okay, so that's not a function. So let's do the next one. 5 goes to 20. 6 goes to 10. 7 goes to 10. 8 goes to 30. And 10 goes to 30. Is this a function? Yes. The X values go to one Y value. Now we see that the Y's repeat. That's okay, as long as they're with a different X, and they are all with a different X, so that's okay. So yes, it is a function. Okay, now one more. 4 goes to 3 and 4 goes to 5. We already know it's not a function. 9 goes to 8. That's fine. But 4 goes to two different things. So that's not a function. So now what we're going to do is look at a couple of scenarios and then we'll be done. Well, first of all, let's look on a table. We have input and output. So each input can go to only one output. Each input, which is our X, and go to only one output, which is our y. So we have 4 to 5, 8 to 12, 12 to 16, 16 to 20, and 20 to 24. Do any input values repeat? No, they don't. No. So it is a function. Okay, let's look at this one. Inputs 15, 10, 5, 10, and 15. So these repeat. 10 and 15 are repeaters. So it is not a function. So remember, look at your input and your output. X, Y, X, Y. Okay, so let's look at this one. Input, output. Do we have any repeaters on our input? Inputs cannot repeat. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. No repeaters. So yes, it is a function. Okay. So now I think, yes, let's look at some scenarios, determine whether each given situation represents a function and explain your answer, because there will be one test question like this. So let's look at these. Elena mails 6 different Valentines to her friends. Each of Elena's 6 friends receives a Valentine from her. So she does 6 different Valentines. So we could say Valentine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then friend A, B, C, D, E, and F. Since it says they're all getting a different Valentine, then that would be a function. It is a function because they're all getting a different Valentine. It tells you specifically that they're getting different Valentines. Okay, next, I'm gonna erase that. So pause if you need to. Okay, next one. There is one copy of a popular book in the library, and the book has been checked out by 45 different people. So, one book to 45 different people, that is not a function. Okay. The principal of a school sends the same memo to all of the teachers, and there are 28 teachers in the school. So, one memo going to 28 teachers, that's going to be not a function. There are 13 cats for adoption at the animal shelter, and each cat is adopted by a different family. So that would be a function. 13 cats. Let's pretend like that's 13. 13 families, and they each go to one. So that would be a function. So let's keep going. This was page 172 of your skills practice book. Now we're going to go over to page 176. No, 173. Okay, let's go through these scenarios and then we'll be done. Okay, there are 3 showings of a play, but over 200 people attend each one. So not a function. It helps me to make those little mappings like this, even though they're not accurate. You can do whatever you want to do. Okay. Chris bakes 2 dozen cookies for the bake sale. 24 people buy a cookie. So how much is 2 dozen? 2 times 12 is 24. And then 24 people buy a cookie. So yes, that would be a function. Every person got a cookie. The new issue of Sports Today is published. So one issue sent out to millions, not a function. Okay. Eduardo has French on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and German on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Output Eduardo's language classes per day. So, does he take more than one language per day? No, because he's got French on Monday, German on Tuesday, French on Wednesday, German on Thursday, French on Friday. So every language is just on one day. Even though French is 3 times and German is 2 times, it is a function. There is a flight from Los Angeles to New York, one flight with 350 passengers. So not a function. And then there are 5 different trails in the park. 3 friends take a different trail. So that's a function because they didn't use the fourth or the fifth, but the 3 friends took a different trail. And I'm taking that to mean they all 3 each took their own trail. So I'm going to say that's a function. Okay, I want to go back up to Eduardo for a second. So I'm going to get rid of some of these guys here. What about if he took German on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays? So then on Monday, he had French. On Tuesday, he had German. On Wednesday, he had French. On Thursday, he had German. And then on Friday, he had German and French. Then that would not be a function because he had two on one day. And so that messes up the whole thing if he has 2 languages on one day. But as long as he has just one language on one day, he has a function. So I think y'all get that. But if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. So now you are ready for your test that you're going to have tomorrow. Oh, one thing I did want to just remember to show you is the vertical line test. Okay, this is the last thing, I promise. Vertical line test. So remember, it's going to be a function as long as there's only one point going through the line. Look at 4. That goes through 2 points right there and right there. So that's not a function. 1 point, 1 point, 1, 1, 1, 1. That's a function. 1, 1, uh-oh, 2, not a function. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, function. And then 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, function. Look right here, that's going to go through 2 points, so that's going to be not a function. this looks like we're going to have a function because we're using that vertical line test. So what about this one? Right here, it would go through 2 points. Right here, right here. So that would be not a function. Okay, if you have any questions, ask me. All right, we're